Amit Bagaria. You're the founder, chairman, and CEO of the Asipac group. I understand, among other things, you're involved with retail real estate in India. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Right. What we do is we look at developers or promoters of shopping centers come to us, and we look at locations, we look at different properties, and we see if that's the right location to develop a shopping center. And if it is, then we go on further and we do a market analysis and see what type and what size of shopping center should be built there. Then if it's a go ahead and one is moving ahead with the project, then we would further plan it down to the how many bank ATM machines is needed and how many telephone booths are needed and whatever parking spaces and loading docks and all of that, and then we manage the design process. So the owner appoints architects and engineers, and we manage the design process. And then once construction begins, we start doing the leasing of the shopping center. We undertake the responsibility of fully leasing it, and the right tenancy mix, the right, of course, financial returns for the owner, and up to the time of coordination with the tenants during the build-out process to do their shop fit-out works until handover, basically when it opens. That's when our services come to an end. So it's an end-to-end service.
It's a very comprehensive program, and I'm assuming that these clients are mainly foreign companies or investors.
No, most of the clients are Indian companies.
So it's for Indian companies?
Yes.
Okay. One has read a lot about the governments of various Indian states, as well as the federal government, being not incredibly helpful all the time to business. Is that your experience as well?
I would put it this way, that
more delicately, probably.
No, it's nothing delicate about it. It's probably because of the lack of exposure of some of the government officials into what they're trying to approve. They've never seen before, so they don't understand it. When they don't understand it and they try to approve it, then it becomes a disaster. So when you make a rule and you want to apply a rule without using common sense, that's what happens. So take, for example, in a large shopping center, the rule is that you have to have a fire escape every 22 meters or every 70 feet. Now that 70 feet may be coming inside a store. So how can you have a fire escape right in the middle of a store? It's ridiculous, but they say that's the rule. Well, okay, what is the rule meant for? The rule is meant for safety of the people who are inside that environment. So look at it practically and see, okay, inside a large department store, there are going to be so many people. If there is a fire in such an emergency event, don't you think that people are going to move to the ends of that store rather than trying to find a fire escape right in the middle of it? So it's not that they are unfriendly on purpose. They are unfriendly or not friendly because of they try to follow the books without seeing the practical application of what's written in the book. And unfortunately, many of our rules and regulations relating to development were written many years ago. Norms were different. Car parking requirements were less than what is needed today. You had a funny rule in our capital, New Delhi, where if you were building a shopping center, each store had to have restrooms. Now, you don't need that in a shopping center. You have common restrooms. But the government authorities, that's what the rule book says. So each store has to have its own restrooms. It's crazy. Those were built but never used because you had to follow the rules. So it's a lack of exposure of many of these government officials into what they're trying to approve.
Sure, but you're confident that your company can ease those problems and kind of talk the officials through it, facilitate for the client?
What we've seen in the past 13 years is that if you come down to the platform of a one-on-one conversation with these officials and come to the level where they are and talk to them as a human being, one-to-one, and explain to them, saying, okay, this is what is written in the rule book, and if I was in your place, this is what I would be reading also. But don't you think this is what the book meant to say? Then most of them are reasonable and they understand.